Right. And if you aren't into Game of Thrones, this is actually a great time to get into it. For one thing, HBO is about to start offering HBO to non-cable having people.
HBO Now.
Yeah, $15 a month. And you get all of HBO's shows, I think, that they've ever done.
Yep.
You can go back and watch all the Sopranos, whatever you want. And then I think you'll get to watch Game of Thrones like the night. You don't have to wait. It's like right when everybody else gets to see it, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And you can go catch up on all the old episodes. It's going to be us two, David, Grace, and Mr. Blog.
It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, but we won't all be on at the same time usually. We will the first episode, but then it'll be like a rotating thing where we each try to claim the microphone and be the king at the end.
And we all have to decide what our sigil is going to be.
That's right. We should have sigils totally geek out on it. Thinking about mine now. And then finally, one more day of voting for podcast awards. Thank God, I'm sick of the freaking podcast awards. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, March 24th, go to podcastawards.com and vote for Walking Dead Cast in the entertainment category. If you'd like to see us win, this is your last chance. You can save those kitties.
Oh, are those cats?
Yeah, we're gonna.
They didn't sound
They're
like
still
cats.
alive. Oh, what did it sound like to you?
That sounded like a parrot.
Don't you know what cats sound like? I thought you had cats.
My cat sounds like a zombie.
That's right. All right, so enough with the nonsense. Let's move along.
Attention shoppers. Deadcast Top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, it's Deadcast Top 5 this week. It's our top 5 highlights for Season 5, Episode 15, Try. They tried to make a good episode and they failed. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
What did you think?
I didn't think they failed at all.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a great episode. Really fun to watch. And also, no sweet-faced young man was pushed against a glass as he was slowly shredded by a zombie. So that's a plus.
What did you think was more fun, the spousal abuse or the PTSD?
I thought it was the fight, the knockdown, drag out fight that went into the street through a plate glass window into the street.
That was pretty cool,
and culminated with somebody getting clocked. It was awesome.
And let's see, Rick last week said, or 2 weeks ago, if you keep the windows intact, you keep society intact.
Yeah, how long did that last there, Rick?
2 weeks. Society's fucked.
It really pretty much is.
Well, I thought, the episode was kind of a drag.
Did you?
Not one of my favorites. Yeah.
We flip-flopped this week.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite as, we're not quite as polar as we were, but we did flip-flop. I mean, I think it was about how damaged they all are, but I just didn't enjoy it. And, there's a lot of horror in the show and terrible things, but it's thrilling usually. And this time it was just like, oh man, Sasha's really fucked up and I feel bad for her. And Rick is fucked up and, this woman's being abused. And not only that, but we'll get into why, I just didn't think it was very well done. A lot of it. There were some things about it I liked.
Sweet teenage love story.
Yeah, I like that part. That was super cute. And I thought it was a bit overdramatic, although on second watch, I thought it seemed a little more warranted, but it felt kind of like a after-school special kind of thing to me. Until Rick pulled the gun on the
It was a very special episode.
All right. Can I go first this time?
Yeah, baby.
Okay. So I thought this episode was about how damaged they all are. It opens listening to Aiden's mix CD, her son that just died.
Right.
And
what do you think? Good taste in music?
I like Nine Inch Nails. This song is called "Somewhat Damaged." It's
fittingly.
Yeah, it's a montage of Carol cooking, Sasha freaking out in the bell tower and trying to stay awake, and I forget what else. But I think the family listening to it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think it worked. I wanted it to work, but the song didn't fit for me and it took me out of it. It just felt like somebody had the radio on while I was trying to watch The Walking Dead. The lyrics go, so impressed with all you do, tried so hard to be like you, flew too high and burnt the wings, lost my faith in everything, lick around divine debris, taste the wealth of hate in me, shedding skin, succumb to defeat, this machine is obsolete. So it sort of vaguely relates to their situation. Sure. And I think somebody heard those lyrics. In fact, I think Scott Gimple loves Nine Inch Nails and thought, oh, this relates. Let's find a way to get it in. But it just felt shoehorned in to me. Mm-hmm. By the way, the part we didn't hear was tear a hole, exquisite red, fuck the rest, and stab it dead. But he turned it off just before that came on. Reg.
Yeah, that's probably not appropriate for your parents.
So anyways, damaged people. Pete's the abuser. Jesse's an enabler. Mm-hmm. Sasha has PTSD. Rick maybe went off the deep end. Michonne's struggling with her desire to hang up her sword. But I think when she just kind of jumped into the fight with Sasha, she's like kind of addicted to it or something. That's what it almost seemed like.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to make of that.
I wasn't sure either. You know, at this point, it's almost quicker and easier to talk about the people who aren't damaged on the show.
Yeah. But this show is specifically about that, about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Damaged.
In fact, name one person
who's not.
Judith. Ah, you owe me a Coke.
Yeah, I mean, I think Glenn is trying not to be. He actually wants to fit into Alexandria.
Yeah, he does.
You know, I mean, it's the same old theme that we've heard before about can you retain your humanity?
Right.
And it feels like a lot of our characters are slipping into not being able to retain it so much.
And I have to say, Aaron and Aaron's boyfriend, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, so far they seem fair. Okay.
They seem the most normal. And at this point, hell, Daryl. I wouldn't have said that before, but now he seems
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, because, Daryl is more adaptable. Mm-hmm. So one thing about Sasha, it made me wonder if when she's like all frenetic in the bell tower, it made me wonder again if she's going to just lose it and start picking people off. But it was fun to see her going through the forest, just picking off the Zeds, you know, getting all these great shots in.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was like, and when Rosita and Michonne joined her, and they all kind of jumped in. It did seem sort of like they were in a video game at one point. The way that it was cut, and they were bam, 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 and they all seemed like they were. And I love how she said, "I'm sick of playing defense," and. Yeah, you were not playing defense there, or really. You were definitely on the offense.
But it's, I don't know, just seeing her going around shooting zombies in the back of the head, you're just going to run out of bullets, and there's going to be a billion more zombies left.
Wasting bullets. Do you think that this is a bullet factory? This is not a bullet factory. By the way, when Rosita and Michonne were going through the woods to find Sasha, and they stopped suddenly and froze and looked right, did you think that somebody off camera said, "Squirrel"?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I had to watch it a couple of times, and each time I busted out laughing because it's so funny. They stopped and they were like, "What? Squirrel?"
I give this episode I'd say 3.2, by the way.
Really? Mm-hmm. I was much more generous this time, 4.78.
Holy mackerel.
I know, it's really high. I liked it a lot.
What was your number 5?
That was actually Michonne, Rosita, and Sasha in the woods.
Okay, so my number 4 is Carl and Enid sitting in a tree, which I thought was super cute, and I thought they had great chemistry.
They did!
And I liked how I like her attitude. She has this teenagery sort of almost like, but with the weight of the world having been on her, she's good at portraying that. But still, even though she's experienced some bad things and even has that teenagery, like, you know, I'm so over it, she still also has that spark of youth about her. You know, one second she's like, go away, I'm scared of you. And then they're like frolicking around in the woods, fucking with the zombies. Which makes sense. Although I thought, didn't Carl kind of get Dale killed by...
Yes, he did, frolicking in the woods. Yeah. I like what she said, that running makes her feel better, because running makes me feel better too. And also cardio is one of the first rules of Zombieland. I love the little slow-mo run that they both do through the woods.
And she wanted to be out there because she doesn't want to forget about And just like Michonne said too, and Carl, I don't want to be weak.
Yep.
She's like that too. And there's a theme about them feeling more at home out with the zombies now.
And she made a point. She said, it's their world. We're just living in it.
Which I thought was sort of corny, but also kind of true.
I think it's the most true thing that's been uttered on that show in a long time.
I guess. But, when you want to think, well, how can I make my place in this world? But yeah.
Their place is hard to know. I mean, the switch has been flipped. It's not the normal humans world anymore. It's Zed Town.
And then Carl said Ron's a good guy. So I think Ron is Jesse's son, because all the teenagers were hanging out before and Jesse wanted Carl to meet Ron. But I guess Ron is Enid's boyfriend. I'm not sure about that part. Why would he bother saying Ron's a good guy to Enid while they're sitting there? And then, she said, he wouldn't I don't tell him I come out here because he wouldn't understand.
Is Ron her dad?
No, Ron's one of the other teenagers.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah. Huh. I think her parents are dead, I think.
Who can keep track of these things?
Because her mom, she said something about how her mom gave her that knife, and then he said, what happened to you? And before she had a chance to tell him, the zombies came.
Because of course.
And it was pretty cute how they were about to kiss, and then he turned away, and she was glad. She said, oh good, you're afraid of me too. I like that.
Yes, I did too. Yeah. Although maybe not afraid of each other, maybe afraid for each other. All right, so that was actually my number 2 also.
Well, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Michonne takes Rick out like a boss. I loved that. I thought it was so great.
Why did she do that?
Because he was ranting like a crazy man, and he was about to get the whole group kicked out if he was waving his gun around at Deanna and everybody else. He's waving his gun around and he's covered with blood. He's foaming at the mouth. He's waving his gun around.
It's like, you better shut this down because nothing good's going to come of it.
Nothing good.
Including maybe helping him.
Oh, yes. Right. He was about to get himself kicked out. So shut up. And there was no reasoning with him. So she took him down.
I mean, she also, I also think her little arc in this episode was about, she had flashbacks of her with all her sword play and not wanting to be a killer like that.
Yeah.
And right when he said, you got to kill or be killed, that's when she hit him. So I think that was also part of it. Like, she just was rejecting what he was saying, ironically, by being violent towards him.
Right. What he said was, me, because Deanna had said,
talking about me.
It's never been more clear than it is now.
Why would you want to kick me out? I'm the only sane one here.
Pretty much. But it's so funny when he says, you're always going to destroy this place. It's going to get people killed. It's already gotten people killed. And I'm not just going to stand around and let it happen. If you don't fight, you die. I'm not going to stand by and...
I'm going to kill you all just to save you.
Right. Boom.
Okay. My number 3 is Department of Suspension of Disbelief.
Oh, we love that department.
Yeah, there wasn't too much, but one thing that really kept getting at me was the zombies would come right up to the fence, the wall, and then Sasha would pick them off.
Yeah.
But I really don't think she had the angle on them. Because they're right up next to the wall. Even if you're in a bell tower, that wall is really high.
Right.
So it just didn't make sense to me. They never showed a long shot of the wall of the zombie and the bell tower where you could see all three at once.
Right. She didn't have the angle.
Yes. And they had it several times, her doing that. It seemed like they would have to be inside the wall for her to have a shot like that.
Maybe they were magic curving bullets.
If they were farther out, then maybe away from the wall.
Or
maybe
if the wall curved back, then...
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. We don't really have a sense of whether it's square.
Right.
But I think it is, but we don't know for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. It could be like that, yeah. Like if it's...
curved around.
Or not even curved, but just... like it goes out here, comes in, like that. Does that make sense, you guys? I'm drawing stuff with my finger that you can't see.
Yes, that makes sense, Jason.
Anyway, I don't know if this totally fits in the Department of Suspension Disbelief, but I thought it was totally ridiculous when Rick comes up to Deanna, who's standing over her newly dead son's grave, and says, "Oh, sorry about that, but we have a problem with Pete." It's like, can you give her a moment? That like any other time.
Jason, it's been
right
5
after
minutes.
your
It's been 5
friends
whole
got
minutes.
her son killed.
How much time does she need?
Dude, if I was her, I would have been like, get the fuck away from me. And can you come to my office hours later and we'll talk about Pete? Because I'm grieving for my son right now that your friend might have gotten killed.
And the fact that he's like, yeah, Pete's, he's got to go. We got to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, he did say, I was happy that he said, try separating them. That was the advice he gave to Deanna. And then she said, well, then what happens if that doesn't work out?
No, I think wasn't it Deanna
No,
who
it was
suggested?
Rick. It was Rick.
Okay.
Trust me. Rick said, we'll separate him. And then Deanna said, then what happens if that doesn't work? And then he said, well, then we kill him.
Then we kill him.
I think the answer to that should have probably been, well, we lock him up. Because I think they probably have the facility here in Alexandria to lock somebody up. And
even if they don't, there's lots of other things they could do. They could, have him shackled to somebody. They could, there's other ways they could work it besides killing him.
And I don't know. Try it first too. You don't even have to decide.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think alcohol probably plays a big part in this.
Right.
How about take all the alcohol and lock it up?
They should have done that a long time ago.
They should have done that a long time ago.
No alcohol for the doctor.
Make it a sober house. Because clearly, if he's the only doctor, he probably shouldn't be rip-roaring drunk in the middle of the day. Just saying.
And then finally, I didn't want to believe there could be a guy like Nicholas who would abandon his friend, get another guy killed, and then come back and just lie about it and try to get the people who actually saved them in trouble and kicked out. I wish this could be in the Department of Suspension and Disbelief, but I totally believe that somebody would be like that.
I do too, actually. That was
weasels in this world.
And he qualifies as a full-on hardcore weasel. I love the Department of Suspension and Disbelief.
And I loved the talk that Glenn had with him, where he's all, "Are you threatening me?" And he goes, "No, I'm saving you. You're never going to go out of here again." That was great.
That was great. And actually that leads into my next, my number 4, which is Glenn and Nicholas. I love the two of them. First, I loved, and I don't mean I love them together. Obviously I don't, but I love the interaction and the juxtaposition of the two of them. First, the videotape of Nicholas lying through his teeth to Deanna, and hoping that poker star Deanna can tell the truth and see that he's a lying liar. But I love that they sort of go back and forth between Glenn telling his side of the story to Rick and then Nicholas telling his side of the story to Deanna, and they fill in the details and they go back and forth and back and forth.
I like that
too.
So
cool.
And I was kind of hoping that Glenn was talking to Deanna too.
Yeah.
And it turned out he was talking to Rick.
Talking to Rick, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But supposedly Deanna's the ace poker player and she can sniff out a liar.
She hasn't yet revealed whether she believes Nicholas.
Where she's
I get the
down.
sense maybe she doesn't, but we don't know for sure.
And then later on when Glenn and Nicholas are at the van, and that, as you mentioned, that little speech that Glenn gave about how you needed to die a long time ago, but these walls have kept you alive. And then Nicholas asked Glenn, "Are you threatening me?" And Glenn saying, "Nope, I'm saving you," which is unfortunate in a way, because now we know that Nicholas is the one who has Rick's gun.
Yeah. So he was keeping it somewhere
in a coffee
can,
like a giant coffee can.
So he found it somehow.
He clearly found it.
I don't know. That seems kind of dumb to me. How would he find that?
The blender gun. He might have seen Rick hiding it originally. Who knows? He found the blender gun. He's got the blender gun, and it ain't gonna end well.
One of our listeners wrote in to correct you because she thought accidentally saying blunder gun when you meant blunderbuss, which I guess is like a pirate gun or something.
Oh, no. It was hidden in a blender, I think. Or blender, like a food processor. Food processor gun. But I think blender gun sounds funnier. Blunderbuss. Huh. Who knew? It's also the name of a White Stripes album, I think.
All right, your turn, right? No, you just did
I
yours.
just did mine.
Okay, my number 2 is the wolves, which I presume are a group of really bad people who will fight Rick next episode. That's what I think is going to happen.
You think they're a group of people?
I think so. As opposed to what? Actual wolves?
Which I love so much.
Werewolves.
Dire wolves.
Yeah, and so we see this woman strung up and mostly eaten, who I presume the wolves strung up.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, so that the zombies could
disembowel
have
her
food or something.
Yeah.
And then Aaron says there's more zombies than there used to be.
Yes, in that area.
We know is because Rick's group came and brought this Walking Dead show with it that needs zombies. But I think it has something to do with the wolves.
Right.
Like if you're giving them food, they'll come.
Right. If they're stringing up humans to the tree. And by the way, she was clearly, correct me if I'm wrong, she was clearly alive when they strung her
She
up.
just became a zombie. It reminded me of Amy.
It was great, wasn't it?
Remember
Yeah.
Andrea's sister?
She woke up zombie. Yeah. I thought that was an amazing moment, the two of them. The odd couple in hell. And that's a tweet, I think, from Norman Reedus, who compared the two of them to the odd couple in hell.
Wait, two of who?
Daryl and Aaron. Their field trip.
Yeah, I like them together.
I love them together.
So clean cut, and they're like total opposites.
They are. They're the odd couple in hell. So great.
So I want to know what the wolves are doing. They're carving W's into the zombies, which for some reason no one ever mentions. Oh, weird. There's W's carved in all these zombies.
Nobody is saying
it's
why.
Like Lost.
What the?
They just don't talk about it. They're mutilating the zombies. They're tying women to trees. Why are they doing all this stuff?
It can't be.
Are they nice people?
or they can't be nice. They can't be good. If they're calling themselves the wolves anyway, I love wolves.
This old, like a bunch of old guys from some, like, I don't know, what do you call that? Where they have the fezzes. Like
Shriners?
Yeah, like Shriners.
Shriners are good. They're a force of good, not evil. I was thinking that they were.
Boys.
I was thinking that they were from the rejects from a West Side Story cast because they're the
wolves.
The wolves, yeah.
They're gonna be dancing around. And
when you're a wolf all the way.
Hey, kill the zombies.
And then carve in a W.
Okay.
All right.
That's it for me. But I think, hopefully, anyway, next week we'll get to see who these people are.
So you're telling me you haven't seen this show on HBO, the little mini series called The Jinx about Robert Durst. This guy,
I don't
Robert
know
Durst.
Robert Durst. No,
okay.
I haven't seen it.
So when they came upon the zombie that was completely mutilated, part here, part there, that had been basically undone into a puzzle piece, that totally reminded me of The Jinx, the Robert Durst case, because he chopped up his neighbor into 6 easy pieces and threw them in bags and then out into the bay in Texas.
I can't wait for the Scientology. There's going to be a documentary on Scientology next weekend.
Oh, on HBO?
Yeah.
HBO does the best documentaries.
I gotta watch that.
God, they're so good. We're not shills for HBO, but man, they've been good.
But HBO now, $15 a month. Use promo code GAC. No, I'm just kidding.
We are just kidding.
I wish. They're sponsoring us.
They don't need the likes of us.
What's your number 1?
That actually was my number 1. It was the Daryl and Aaron Odd Couple Happy Hour.
From Hell. Mine is kind of just Rick's arc in this. One of his last lines was, "You don't fight, you die." And also, "You still don't get it. We know what needs to be done and we do it. We're the ones who live. You just sit and plan and hesitate. You wish things weren't what they are." He's totally channeling Shane. You know, this could have come right out of Shane's mouth.
Yes. And he's also making bad choices like Shane did.
And he kind of even moves like Shane. He reminds me of Shane a lot. But everyone right now is trying to find the line between keeping their humanity and doing what it takes to be safe. Even Rick, like, like I mentioned, his first recommendation to Deanna was to separate Pete from his family. And, I think there could be an argument, the reason why Deanna brought them all in was because they had gone through a lot out there and knew how to handle themselves. And she wanted to bring some of that back to her community so they could help them be safe, or at least that's what she said. And now Rick's telling her this is what you need to do to be safe. But what undermines his argument is when he starts screaming with blood on his face and waves his gun around like he's going to shoot somebody. That doesn't help.
Doesn't sound safe.
Doesn't really help. No. And then it made even me, I already questioned him, but even more, I'm like, was I wrong to even think this was debatable? Is he just completely nuts? After that, I'm like, I think Glenn knows where it's at. But, I do believe that the Alexandrians aren't tough enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he could have taken some sort of middle ground. Instead of going full throttle caveman, he could have taken a much more measured approach to this whole thing. But evidently, it's not in him anymore.
Yeah. In part, I think that was somewhat out of character, and that I love Scott Gimple's writing, but one of his occasional flaws, I think, is he pulls scenes right out of the comic. Like when we first saw Rosita, Abraham, and Eugene, and they were all in their comic book gear, and Rosita looked kind of funny. That he wants to have it right out of the comic, but it doesn't quite fit.
Yes.
And this scene was right out of the comic. Rick waving his gun around.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, did he just want to really include that page? And so had to have Rick go a little more nuts than fits his character.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Usually he is looking at the big picture, but this time he did not see the big picture at all. And you could say that that's Carol's influence or whatever, but or how his feelings for Jessie, which is weird because didn't he just meet her? It's all very strange. By the way, what was the deal with the red balloon?
Wait, I'll get to that, but I just want to mention, on the other hand, one of our callers, we'll hear the call later, but he said that Rick early on reminded us that Rick early on said, "You don't kill the living." Remember that? Like, I think it was in season 1 or 2.
He seems to have changed his mind.
And so just remembering that, it's like, oh, interesting. Yeah, this is a great arc for him to go from that to, oh yeah, we'll try to separate him, then you kill him. Because you got to kill or be killed. The red balloon, when I first saw it, I just thought, well, when you first see the balloon, at least the first time I noticed it was when a little kid's holding it, and Rick's looking around, seeing all the normalcy all around. And so it just represented normalcy. And then when the balloon's floating away, it's
normalcy,
like, oh shit,
away.
yeah, everything went to hell.
Nice.
But there, I think one of our listeners has more to say about that later in an email. What do you think it meant?
I did not know. I like that explanation a lot. I wanted to know, why didn't Rick knock Pete's block off, especially because Pete's drunk, but Pete's a little taller.
Pete's a force to be reckoned with.
He's a little taller.
He's had a lot of practice beating up.
Yeah,
people.
I guess he has. But Rick's a sheriff, and he's a sheriff with a bad attitude, apparently. So you'd think. And he has a lot of experience out in the wild.
I think in the end, he did win the fight, right? Didn't he? I think he got the best of Pete, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
Well, they both seemed to get...
Pete held his own.
Pete did hold his own. I was just amazed because I thought usually sheriff types have tricks to make you surrender, the Vulcan death grip that can make you give pretty quickly.
I was like, oh shit, Pete's got a few good licks in there. Crap, but I kind of enjoyed that. Like, oh man, yeah, he's a badass too. So
yeah, that's true.
I liked that when Rick went to Deanna to like convince him or just to tell him about Pete while she was grieving over her dead son. I thought, oh, interesting. Rick is not the leader here. It might be by his choice. It is by his choice, kind of. But it's interesting. This is the first time in a long time that Rick hasn't been the leader. And he doesn't handle it so well, as we see.
Yeah.
And the last thing about Rick is I wish Rick and Jessie, I don't know if I feel like they really have as much chemistry as the writing wants them to have. What do you think?
No, in fact, I think it was pretty clear in this episode when she told him, I'm married. But on the other hand, when she said, why are you doing this? Would you do this for anybody else? No.
Yeah, I mean, she's flirted with him. He kissed her. I think the idea is that they're supposed to have some kind of romantic connection, but it's just not coming through as much as, it's supposed to be. Yes. Like, I felt more of that between Carl and Enid than I am between Rick and Jesse.
Right.
All right, I have more notes. Do you have more notes?
I only have one note.
Go for it.
All right, my note is that I'm going to have a late entry into the Department of Disbelief, suspension of disbelief. Mm-hmm. Why do all the female zombies always wear long skirts or long dresses? Discuss.
I mean, I think behind the scenes, it's because they don't have time to put makeup on a lot of skin area. That's why all the male zombies have long sleeves too.
Pants cover legs. Fine.
Female zombies have pants too.
No, hardly ever. Almost all the female zombies I've seen look Amish.
Huh. I'll have to go back and look.
I was looking at this
because I'm trying to remember, when I did the show, there were plenty of women there, but I don't remember whether they had pants on. If my guess would be just to make it clear that there are men and women zombies so they don't all just look like males.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's hard to distinguish.
Yeah.
Although I'm still hoping that eventually that we see like people in hazmat suits and
we're not going to see too much of that. Clowns, yeah. They should have, if they want to have female zombies in pants, they should just have some super busty ones. Then you'll know for sure. You could just have one boobed zombies.
Or a zombie in a bikini. One boobed zombie.
Yeah. Okay. Notes. So this was going to be one of my top 5, actually. Shades of season 2. I felt like this episode in some parts reminded me of the things about season 2 that I didn't like. The conversation between Michonne and Rosita, talking about how Rosita was screwed up because she thought she lost something when Eugene turned out to be a liar, but Michonne screwed up because she found something, and everyone's sad that Noah died, but it doesn't mean we have to give up. It just reminded me of season 2 when everybody was talking everything out in endless conversations just like this.
Show, don't tell.
Sasha hunting the zombies, her whole arc this episode felt like, well, we've already seen her go crazy at the party. We she's just been in this same mood for several episodes now. And out of respect to PTSD, I do believe, of course, people spend years affected by this, but they don't have to devote a whole arc to it in any more episodes. We got it now. Yeah. That's how I feel. Yeah. Unless she's going to finally start capping people. I know that sounds horrible, but I mean, I just felt like, it's repetition. That's what I didn't like about season 2. They kept repeating things. And then when Pete saw Rick and asked if he was okay, and then Rick said in a low voice, keep walking. And Rick, remember that?
He's in the half light.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick's just lit and just you can see one side of his face. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And Pete looks like he's almost gonna cop an attitude, but then he's like sees the crazy look on Rick's face.
Okay, I'll keep walking.
Yeah, right. I like that. And I thought, Rick's almost looked like, I'm not going to be able to control myself, so I'm saying this for your own good. Please go. Like he was almost trying to help him out. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of Bruce Banner when he's about to turn into the Hulk. You wouldn't
like me. You wouldn't like it when I get angry.
I think Carl needs to get rid of his hat.
At this point, and he's wearing it in a different way than he used to. Yeah. He's wearing it a little farther back.
It looks a little cooler.
But at this point, the hat's not helping you in any way.
It just feels to me like as a teenager, it feels like a kind of a hero worship thing with his dad. And at some point, maybe he's still doing that, and that's kind of sweet to think, but I really think that most teenagers want to have their own identity.
Maybe he feels like if he took the hat off at this point, his father would feel like it was a slight. So
that's exactly why most teenagers would do it. Fuck you, Dad.
I'm going to put on my slouchy beanie hat.
I heard Chandler Riggs has a bald spot, so...
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Michonne's dreads. Do you know those are dreads, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about dreads? Like how to? You just don't do anything, right?
Right.
Just don't wash them. Mm-hmm. I think by this point they must smell really bad.
They're not. They're a wig.
Well, not in the show.
Oh, you mean
like? I'm just thinking she's had those dreads for a long time. And my first thought was, what do you do to keep those up? But I think you just don't do anything.
You wash them.
No, I don't think you're supposed to wash them, though.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think you wash dreads. Do you? Do you know that for sure?
I don't know that for sure.
What I remember about what I've heard about dreads is you're not supposed to wash them. I don't know if that's true. We should probably look it up. But if it is true, I bet you there's some zombie chunks in there that smell pretty bad.
Oh, that's awful.
Okay, I'm going to look it up right now.
Look it up.
Let's see. Okay. Matted coils of hair.
How to care for dreadlocks.
So it says, a common misconception is that those who have dreadlocks do not wash their hair, but this is usually not the case. All right, fine. Forget it.
Cut that out.
Many dreadlock care regimens require the wearer to wash their hair up to twice a week.
You need to cut all that out.
No, I think it's interesting. I'm not cutting it out. I might cut some of it out. Next is, we don't see Tara, but Rosita says she's stable. So we got a little update on her condition.
She's stable.
Condition. And then I guess that's it.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into listener responses.
Let's do it. The first one comes from Ben Ellickson, who writes, Carl needs to lose the hat. It was okay at 10, but seriously, stalking a chick through the woods in that hat will relegate you to a lifetime of masturbation. To which I say, what's wrong with masturbation? It sounds like a great thing.
It's okay for you to not have any lovers.
No, I'm not.
What he's saying.
That doesn't preclude having.
So you think Ben is saying, if you wear that hat, you'll be able to get laid, but you'll also, for some reason, masturbate all the time?
Yes.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying no girl is going to want Carl.
I don't know. I just think he's down on masturbation, but I think we should be up with it.
I think you're missing the point, but okay. David Spanta says, whether they know it or not, complacency has made the people of Alexandria a danger to themselves. They're never going to understand how vulnerable they really are, no matter what Rick says or does. To them, he is imperfect, to paraphrase Lincoln's character from Love Actually. Mm-hmm. To these people, he is a shaved savage, a wild man among gentle folk. But make no mistake, I'm still Team Rick all the way. I get what you're saying, but they're never going to understand no matter what Rick says or does. So what you're saying, he might as well just wave his gun around and threaten to shoot them. I mean, I think he actually could have been more gentle about it and had a chance of convincing them. But the way he did it, it's just going to get him kicked out.
I think your Scott Gimple ripped from the pages is probably
maybe
the right way.
But I do appreciate, David, that you agree with basically what he's saying. I agree with some of it, just not how he's saying it.
I think it's so funny. It would be hilarious to do a take on Love Actually, where you have the signs and you have them that say, "To me, you are imperfect, but I love you anyway." That's funny. To them, he is imperfect.
he's holding it. Yeah. The sign up.
To me, you are imperfect, but I love you anyway. Heather Lewis Sanders writes, okay, I hope for half a second that Crazy Rick was going to get up and dance down the street a la Jack Nicholson's The Joker saying, "This town needs an enema."
I love that.
That's awesome.
I would have loved that. Pierre Burt says, Michonne, Rick had turned into the governor for a minute. She just knocked some sense into him. Spoiler alert, that scene is pulled right from the comic.
That's what we hear. Ned Rogers writes, I'm just slightly confused as to whether Sam actually confided all that to Carol or if Carol was being, Carol. I bet she makes a killer casserole. It's funny. I thought that too. I wonder if she's making that shit up.
I don't think so. She was snooping around. I don't think so. But we don't know for sure. John Hauser says, digging the 9 Inch Nails, I think Aiden and I have a lot of music in common.
Chris Mander writes, can't wait for comic talk.
Jeffrey Bray says, here's Rick. The street fight scene was epic, a perfectly played Psycho that was frighteningly like The Shining and very reminiscent of Shane. I wonder if Andrew Lincoln studied past John Bernthal scenes because it captured Shane's essence perfectly. Yeah, I totally agree.
Martha Michaela Hutchman Brown writes, who keeps a helium tank during the apocalypse? Or was I the only one who thought Michonne knocking out Rick was hilarious? And was I the only one? Yes, I thought it was hilarious. And two, you know
did?
what? I did. I thought it was funny. You know what, Martha Michaela Hutchman Brown? I looked at the balloon and I thought, that can't actually be helium. And I don't think it was. I think that was just a balloon I think the reason why it was flying
off in the wind.
Oh yeah, it was flying off in the wind.
It was flying
Going
off,
up.
but it could have been windy.
Yeah, maybe it was carried up on a gust. But yeah, I thought about that. So you're not the only one.
Yeah, there's a helium shortage, but I guess if you cut out 99.9% of humanity, then there's a definite plethora of helium.
You got to keep that around for
Helium's
parties.
plentiful. Do you know there's a helium shortage right now?
I did not know there was a worldwide
there is.
helium shortage.
And I think the cost of helium is going up.
No
and
kidding.
up and up. Get it? Nah, just kidding. No, there really is. Stephen Madrid says, I think Rick is suffering from PTSD. Thus, he's making decisions based on fear. He's taken a paternalistic view of everyone who's not in the group. This means that, and in the group, I would say too, this means that in his mind, he knows what's best for the masses, kind of like a dictator. Sasha is suffering from the same thing. When Rick asked Deanna after the fight, me? It reminded me of Shane, another character who thought he knew better than everyone else. Can't wait to see the finale. By the way, great fucking episode. Steve liked it.
Martin Ayala writes, I believe Morgan will show up in next week's episode.
I would think so. Or why bother?
Maybe those W's are actually M's.
Yeah, we said that.
Did we?
I don't think so, though, but maybe. Brian Cummings says, this is what I thought of when I saw the red balloon, Banksy's girl with a balloon. It represents hope.
God, I freaking love Banksy. I watched a little bit of a Banksy documentary, actually, on HBO. And God, I love him so much.
The red, that it's red. There's also a lot of red. There's the red A. There's Rick's red-handled machete. There's a lot of
You mean
blood.
Michonne's red-handled machete? Oh, no, Rick's red-handled machete. Sorry.
There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of red this season. So that might have something to do with it, too.
Do you think red represents hope?
No, I don't think it represents hope. I think it's about society and sanity. This balloon, his sanity going off into the wind. Jordan Stock said, did anyone else think the first 10 minutes of the episode were too dark to see it all? Yeah, I did.
It's very dark.
I couldn't tell what the hell was going
really
on.
dark.
Okay, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll take a little. It's time to talk about our sponsor, Fracture. As you know, maybe with Fracture, you can get your photos printed on glass in vivid color for 15% discount. Go to fractureme.com and use promo code GAK, G-A-K, at checkout. So I was thinking about, what is it about photos? Why do I like Fracture so much? I've told you guys that I specifically went to them, that I really love their product. And I was just trying to think, what is it specifically? Well, I'm a big tech geek. I like gadgets and computers, and I always have ever since I was a little kid. But these days, what I love most about technology isn't the technology itself, but when it really adds something to your life. Like this podcasting,
Yeah.
I had to learn all about RSS and, just how to build a website and all this stuff. But what I love about it is that we get to connect with you guys and we get to have fun talking, So it's human. It's the human element and creativity and connection and things like that. So at its best, technology is just a tool to add meaning, fulfillment, and beauty to our lives. And Fracture is a perfect example of that because the technology behind it is really impressive. Just however they fuse your photos and just taking digital photos in the first place. But what's great about it is it takes something to you that's really personal to you and maybe beautiful to you or meaningful in some way, something that captures a moment in your life, and it puts it on display in this beautiful presentation. So
that's a really nice way to look at it. I hadn't looked at it that way. I was thinking that it was a easy, cheap way to get a unique present for some people who need presents pretty soon.
That too. But this is more selfish. If I lost my computer and didn't have the cloud, then the most heartbreaking thing about that would be all the photos.
Yes.
And they're important to me. Some of them are really, really super important. And Fracture is the absolute best way I know to kind of memorialize the images that are most precious to you. So it's like taking your best photo and saying, you deserve this really special treatment. So get your most precious photos fracturized. And if you're like me, when you look up at your photos, like I'm looking at the one of Nico right now, you're going to feel good about it. They start at $15. They're shipped right to your door, and just go to fractureme.com and use promo code GAC, and you can get 15% off that price. And we thank Fracture for their support.
Thank you, Fracture.
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Okay, Steven Yeun had an interview on entertainmentweekly.com. I was sort of wondering about exactly what his attitude is. There's something I think it is, but this sort of confirmed it. So he says, when Noah does say, don't let go, when Noah said that in the
don't let go. It's hard to hear, but yes.
He says, I know it's easy for a lot of people to dismiss that as literally saying, don't let go. But if you watch Tyler's performance, you can see he's taking it upon himself to tell Glenn in that moment, he accepts his fate. He accepts his moment there, and he says, don't let go of what Alexandria is. Don't let go of what you are as a person, the intrinsic hope you have and hopefulness that you have. That's just as valuable in this world as being able to operate completely savagely. So I think that's where they're at right now. I totally disagree. I think Noah was saying, don't let go of me, damn you. But I think that's where Glenn's head is at, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to let go of his humanity.
So that's it's preferable to thinking, don't let go of me. Oh God, help. I'm being mauled by zombies.
Next, executive producer Gail Ann Hurd's doing a Kickstarter for a documentary called Man Killer about this woman, Wilma Mankiller, who in 1985 became the first woman elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation.
Yeah.
And apparently gets overlooked a lot.
Right.
But what I thought was really interesting is some of the rewards for the Kickstarter.
Ooh, what is it?
There's a whole bunch of rewards starting at, I don't know, like $1 or $10, but I wanted to read some of the more interesting ones, and they get into the really expensive ones. There's a lot of Walking Dead related ones, like
cool.
$100 for Walking Dead Season 1 DVD signed by Robert Kirkman. $100 for a musical score signed by Bear McCreary.
Oh.
You know he does the music for the show.
Bear McCreary, huh? You don't say.
Yeah. Huh. $300 for a social media shout out from either Norman Reedus, Denai Guerrero, Michael Cudlitz, Michael Rooker, Steven Yeun, or Lauren Cohan, which sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah.
$750, but I guess you're supporting. It's like a charity thing.
Of course.
You're supporting and you get a little thing.
Yeah.
$750 for customized voicemail message from Reedus, Rooker, or Denai Guerrero.
Oh, I want that so.
That'd be pretty cool. Which one would you pick?
What were the choices again?
Norman Reedus, Michael Rooker, or Denai Guerrero? I think I'd pick
Reedus.
Really? Reedus?
Yeah, he has a